with just myself, and this is actually at the Manor with Johnny's hair there.
Is that Johnny Greenwood?
That's Johnny Greenwood hanging over the desk, having a listen there. And yeah, here they are in the Manor. And of course, all these records were done on tape. You know, most of it was 224 tracks slaved together. No computers at all, really. I mean, no one invented. No one. You wouldn't use a computer for recording. You know, it's just like a toy, really. It's just for playing games on, really. That's me. Yeah. And there's a track on there called Nice Dream. I don't know if you know that record, Nice Dream. And I had this stupid idea, it's my Phil Spector thing from going back to All Things Must Pass. I said, what we need is lots of big acoustic guitars. Let's get Badfinger in to play acoustic guitars. What I wanted was lots of acoustic guitar orchestra. And so the whole band got out on the lawn and played acoustic guitars. And and of course I was surprised that Phil, the drummer played guitar. And there he is doing his solo album now, you know, Phil Selway.
Yeah.
So yeah, they all just strummed away out there. And then we went to Abbey Road. We're back here with Abbey Road. There's Tom fiddling with some amps. We weren't doing tracks. I think we were doing guitars because you've just got this wall of guitar amps there, you know, and the Hammond organ, and we'd probably have the vocal in this booth here. There's a piano over the back. But yes, this was just for overdubs for guitars. You know, Abbey Road has the control room upstairs, so you're always looking down on the studio. It's quite interesting, Abbey Road, because it's just a brick-built chamber with a wooden floor. It's quite a high ceiling. But these panels you can see, the acoustic deadening panels, which were put in 1932 they were put in, and they're actually seaweed. You know, some of them are torn, and if you pull it out, they actually found that the acoustic material that they decided to use in the studios was this seaweed, which seemed to absorb the right frequencies. So all those panels that all wrapped around, these things here, they move out, these big screens here, they come out on wheels. You see that in some of the other pictures. And this is... and this is, when we were at the Manor, someone said, hey, you know, there's a crop circle down the road, you know, and if you know, I think I've heard of some in Norway, you know, crop circles where you get patterns in the corn, you know, it's kind of mysterious thing. Anyway, this was the crop circle, and we went off one day and there's Radiohead like exploring the crop circle there. Can't quite find it. There they are. It's the magic crop circle. They're standing there, getting the vibes. You know. Anyway,
you also got the Producers Award at the Brit Awards for Kula Shaker.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. What was that like? Because it's also a retro psychedelic.
It is really, yeah. It's kind of 60s psychedelic, yeah. Yeah, Kula Shaker was a good time. We bashed it out, really. It was interesting because it was one of those records where we did 4 tracks at a time, you know, rather than going in and doing a whole album like the Radiohead one was just like, get in there and record everything, you know. This was like, okay, we're going to do 4 songs, mix them, finish, make sure they're great, and then go in and do another 4. Mix, make sure they're great. So that Kula Shaker record was actually done in 4 song parts kind of thing.
Okay. For the last few years, you've been working in India.
Yeah, I went to India.
For the British Council. Can you tell us a little bit about?
Well, that was a great honour actually. It was just like unbelievable opportunity where I just have this call. There's an organisation in Britain called the British Council, which is like the arts council overseas, promote British culture in different countries and things. And it's been going on for 60 years. You know, every country in the world kind of has a British Council kind of library. It's usually called the BCL, the British Council Library, and they phoned me up and said, you you know, would you like to produce some Indian rock bands? And I said, yeah, I'd love to do. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah. I said, well, send me some tape. You know, send me a demo or something. Well, you know, what have you got? No, you've got to go out there and find them. They said. So, oh, really? Yeah. So there was me and another person, and we did a lot of research on the internet, like MySpace and this kind of thing. And actually, in Calcutta, there's been a rock music tradition since the 60s. So everyone was saying, oh, if you want rock music, go to Calcutta. But the British Council didn't have any dealings with Calcutta because West Bengal is a little bit communist and a little, you know, there's no British Council office in Calcutta. And it's like, please take me to Calcutta. No, we don't go there. So anyway, I went to Mumbai and Delhi and Bangalore and Chennai, and ended up auditioning about 30 bands. You know, they kind of set it all up in India, did a kind of a little contest. Bands sent tapes in, and
the level was high, I heard.
Yeah, the level. Yeah, it was. What do you mean by high? Some of it was, well, to be honest, what I should have done is what I wanted to do was 10 tracks. I wanted to find 10 bands and do 10 days, track a day with 10 different bands, and have a little thing of what was happening in India. And most of the bands were metal bands. So most of them were full on heavy, you know, full on death metal with the voice and hair, like full on from when they started, you know. And it's not really the kind of music that I do, so I was a bit, but there was a lot of, about half of the bands that came were metal bands, you know. And I think if there's one music, yeah, that unites the world, it's metal music. You know. Really, every country you go to, I'm sure, Iraq and places like that, you know, they've all got their metal bands. It's proper music, you know.
Should we ask the audience if you've got any questions from John's career? That has to do with John's career. We have a microphone over here because we're afraid. Anyone? Abbey Road, for instance? Yeah. It's a famous Norwegian producer.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hello. No sound. Okay. Sound?
Yeah. Sound.
Yeah. I'm a producer myself, and I produced several albums with several different artists. What would you say is like your thing that you do on like what you contribute to all the albums? Like which is the common thing? I'm not sure if you follow me, but what's like this you've been doing for like Pink Floyd, for all the different artists that is like you?
I don't know. To be honest, I don't know. Someone else would have to tell me that. I think you know, one of the artists or someone would have to sort of say, well, this is what you do. I don't know really. I don't know what I do. I think I'd like to say I sort of get it together and get the job done. Because at the end of the day, you know, you can be creative, artistic, and have all these ideas and thoughts and theories. But at the end of the day, you have to get the job done. You know, you have to finish by Friday. So that's one of the producer's jobs, you know, particularly if you're getting paid for it.
Yeah,
you know,
I don't think that makes you great. That just makes you on time.
It doesn't make that great.
There's something that makes you actually great.
Something that makes you great. Well, the record company would be great, and the manager would think you're great because you finished it, you know, and gone over.
Again, it's something.
It's a big thing to get your next job. Actually,
people are actually calling you for some reason instead of just having the job done. You actually sell a lot of albums for all these companies. There's something you contribute to all these acts. That is, there's something great in there. Actually, there's a lot of great in there. But
it's also probably a bit of what you choose. Like as a producer, you know, you choose something you're gonna be able to contribute to, that you're gonna enjoy yourself, and you're gonna feel the music yourself. You know, the worst thing is working with music that you don't feel, because you end up not being able to say anything. You know, one of the things I thought is, what does a producer do? The producer is the person who talks when who says something when the music stops. Now, how many times have you been in the studio and the band's playing, and they come to the end of the tape, do a jung, and it dies away, and it's dead silence. Who says the first thing? The producer. The producer has to say something. That's what they pay you for.
And you know when something's shitty, when after like 2.5 minutes you're starting to think of something to say.
Yeah. As you're listening,
I should be saying something in about half a minute or something.
I've got to make a comment on this. Yeah, what are we going to do next? Should we do another take, or should we, go home, or should we go to the pub, or should we, do another song? You don't know what to say. So it's really about being in the moment. Being aware of what's needed and that kind of thing.
Can I have another question?
Yeah.
Of course.
I think you always talk about like having like 2 months off in a truck, or do you have like a family life?
Yeah.
You go off for like to India for months, or and that works for you?
Seems to, yeah. I've been married to the same woman for nearly 40 years now. She puts up with it.
What's her number?
She puts up with it.
More questions, please. Please, feel free. Feel free. Nothing to be scared of.
Right, nothing to be scared of. Hi John, how are you? I was wondering, what is your favorite project and why?
My favourite project is probably what we talked about earlier, was the Dukes of Stratophear. I don't know if you ever heard of the Dukes of Stratophear, which is a group called XTC, and we did... XTC were a band that have been going for some years. They've probably done, how many before? They've probably done about 5 or 6 albums with different producers and things. I did their early records, and they came to me and said, hey, we've got these psychedelic songs, we've got these crazy songs, but they're not right for the band, we just want to go in and record them, And we actually went in the studio, and what came out, they changed the name of the band, although it was the same band. They're called the Dukes of Stratophear. And when it came out, it actually sold more than the other, we did it really cheap and quickly, but it sold more than the other records that they'd spent a lot of time and money on trying to be successful. And here they were just playing, just having fun. And people recognise that. A lot of the vibe of what you do in the studio in some magical way comes across in the recording. If you're having a good time in the studio, very often people go, hey, that sounds really, they listen to the music, and no matter what the mix and stuff, but there's a vibe that comes from the music of the vibe of how it's recorded in the room at the time, And I always enjoy that record because when I hear it, I can't remember anything about it. I can't remember how it was done. If I go, oh, how'd you do that? And it's like, I don't know. We did it all so, we didn't think about it. We just kind of said, oh, well, maybe we need some seagull effects, or, or something, or a motorbike starting up. Yeah, let's have that. And we just did it,
John has also brought some pictures of the Dukes of Stratophear.
Are people interested?
Yeah, of course. And the studio.
Correct recording of Throwing the Stone.
I'd have to find it. You're going to see
it.
Where is it? Oh, there it is there. Okay. This is... if you're interested, Dukes of Stratophear, this is actually a studio called Chapel Lane in Hereford, where we recorded it. It's a converted church, and you used to get the house here and the church for £200 a day. Bargain. And you could all live there and do your record there. It was fantastic. And this is XTC as the Dukes. Just up in there. And then this the second record we did at this place called the Sawmills. The Sawmills in Cornwall, which is down in Devon in the West Country. And you only get to this studio. The studio is just this room here, really. So the white door to the end there. And you live in the house, but you can only get to this studio on a boat. It's kind of up a river. The studio's here, there's a railway line, but basically you either walk along the railway line or you wait for the tide to come in and you come in on a boat. So it's a bit like desert island kind of vibe.
It's beautiful.
You know? It is. It's a great place. Loads and loads of records been done there. Supergrass, Oasis did the first record there. Primal Scream, loads of people. I did Fool's Gold, the Stone Roses was all done there. But yeah, so once if the tide's out, you're stuck. There's no cars, you know, and you can make as much. You do whatever you want, really.
Andy and Colin.
Oh.
And Dave Gregory.
That's nice.
He's fantastic.
Oh.
That's me.
That's you.
What was your name?
Yeah.
Sangram
Swami Ananda Nagara. That's me. Psychedelic Swami name. These are just snaps, really. There's loads of them.
What was that? What's that?
That's what's it called? Brainiac's daughter with the bubble.
Brainiac's daughter.
So if you put if you just blow into a bubble with some water and you mic it really close, it sounds huge, you know. Lots of pictures of the studio. Yeah, that's me. Yeah. Wow.
More questions? Come on. Yeah. Jenny, that's Jenny.
Hi, I'm Jenny Moe and I'm a singer-songwriter and an artist. And I would like to know, you have listened to tons of demos. Do you always know if this is something you want to work with or not? Or do you hesitate sometimes?
Usually I know, but I still hesitate. I know, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually I know, yeah.
How long time does it take you to know, to be certain?
To be certain?
Yeah.
I was gonna say about 10 seconds. But usually, no. To be honest, usually I can tell. You know, I think anyone that listens to music, you either like it. I know it's awful, but really there is a 20 or 30-second attention span of whether it's your kind of music. You know, whether you're gonna enjoy it or whether you want to hear more. You know, you kind of if you. I know it's an awful thing to say, but somehow in the first 30 seconds, you know if you like the voice. The voice is always the most prominent thing. The thing that always connects, I think, is the human voice. You know, and whether you like the voice, the sound of the voice, the vibe of the voice, without going too deeply into what the song's about or the structure or anything. As I say, you can be a rough demo recorded in a rehearsal room on a telephone, you know, and I think I'd be able to tell, and probably you could as well, whether you're going to like the music or not, you know. On a demo level, I think the best demos are recorded on live in a room on a phone, you know, because once it goes beyond that, it's into a different thing, you know, different production.
We got time for 2 more questions. Come on, you got the chance. Hello.
Hi.
Hiya.
You talked about how you got to know bands via demos that the record company sent you. I was wondering, have you ever discovered any demos by yourself? And if you have, would you listen to mine?
Of course I've listened, yeah, I would listen to yours, yeah. Yeah, of course, it's not always from the record company, it's from people like yourself that give me demos, give me tapes at this time, you know, places like this kind of thing, or, you know, managers and all sorts of things. You never know where it's going to come from.
Excellent, I shall find you when you're done.
One more question. Gary, ready? Har du ett? Come on! Another producer. Brilliant Norwegian producer.
All right.
So, how do you see the music industry today? What do you think of the recording industry today? Big question. Take your time.
How do I see it today? In one quick sentence. It's completely different. I mean, it's completely different to when I started, really. It's, in fact, it's completely different to what it was 5 years ago. It's not 3 years ago, it's not last year, it's completely different to what it was last year.
Changing all the time.
it's changing all the time. It did go. It always was changing a bit, but the last few years, because of these things here, you know, it's really changed. You know, in the work process, as you probably know, with stability of computers, you know, with Pro Tools and HD, like for years, as I say, most of these records I've shown you, I recorded on tape. We never really used computer for live recording until it was stable and reliable, wasn't going to mess up, and was going to sound good, of course. You know, it's all very well saying, oh yeah, it sounds great, but within half an hour it would crash, or, you know, continual crashing. But it wasn't until what, OS 10 or something, or it all got a lot more stable and we used it. So how it's going to go in the future, I have no idea actually. I don't know how people are going to make money from it. That's one thing.
Me neither.
No. It's strange that this whole, you know, the perception of music being either free or almost free.
Yeah.
You know, the idea of, you know, what used to be, I mean, English money, £10 or £15 for a CD is ridiculous. But, you know, now it is. But a few years ago, you know, that was the price of, you know, and people, that was the only access. It's really funny with the internet, because before the internet, your only access to music was to actually purchase it, to buy it. You know, the only way you could hear the new Muse record or something was to actually either catch it on the radio or go and buy it, you know, whereas now you can instantly more or less hear the whole thing. And, you know, a lot of records I bought in the 60s, 70s and 80s, I bought them without actually hearing them. You know, you spend money and you were really excited about this moment when you were going to get home, put it on to see what it was like, because you never heard a glimpse of that record, you know, which is very different now. How it's going to go in the future, I really have no idea. You know, it's crazy, really. It's like studios. There's no all the studios, you know.
So the equipment will be very cheap and.
It'll always be expensive. You get what you pay for. If you want to make good recordings, you want
you need
good
it,
pictures.
But if people don't buy music, you can't afford to buy microphones too.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. So the quality of the recorded sound, and, you know, does it mean the quality of the music is going to go down?
My friend had told me that you wanted to record a whole record with only these microphones. Is that true?
That's right. Yeah, 58s. Yeah.
You love them, but quite cheap.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it.
Did you ever do it?
No, I've always wanted to, but I believe you can. Yeah, yeah, but. Of course, it's not so much about the money, it's often about the time as well, you know, because when you go into, you know, I've done it before where, you know, I've suggested to people, hey, why don't you go into Abbey Road? And they go, oh, it's much too expensive. I go, well, it may cost you £2,000 a day, but if you're rehearsed, you can go in there for 2 or 3 days and do your whole album in 3 days. And it's like, oh no, we want to spend 3 months on it. Now, you have a choice of spending 3 months in your rehearsal space with your laptop and your cheap mics, and spend 3 months and, what, £6,000 or something, or going to Abbey Road for 3 days, be shit hot on your performance, know exactly what you're going to do, still leave space, you know, for experimentation and vibe, but if you're well rehearsed, you're going to Abbey Road for 3 12-hour sessions, cost you £6,000. Yeah, I tell you, you'll get a great record, and then go mix it on your laptop. Then,
yeah.
But the first thing there, you know, that's what you've got to do. Is all about really is capturing the first moment. You know.
Thank you.
Takk, Geir. Flere spørsmål før vi gir oss? Jo, det må være noen. Come on, Sven. This is Sven. Record producer and musician.
Hello, sir. A lot of us have attended this conference today about culture versus the monetization of the business, the commercialization, so to speak. What is your impression with that, doing all these projects? What paid out? What was like the money bucket? And did you ever do it for the money solely, or Was it the creative input you can give into this project that was the main purpose of you taking on?
Well, it certainly wasn't for the money, because a lot of these projects you don't get paid much. I mean, although I was talking about all, you know, they all sound really good and stuff, some of them, but a lot of them, for the actual time you put in, you know, you're not much above the minimum wage, really. I mean, sometimes you get, you know, you work out what you get for, you know, what might be 3-6 months work with all the phone calls and the hassle and everything that's going on, and you end up, you probably get, you know, 30 or 50 pounds a day, you know, you get, so it's not a money thing, you know. It's for me, I always think it's about the music, really, and whether I'm going to have a good time, whether the band's going to have a good time, and whether it's going to be easy. Because, you know, the worst thing is when the worst thing with the band, as a producer, I don't know if other producers feel this, is when the band stand there. It depends on what kind of producer you are, but what I hate is when a band stands there and they go, "What do you want us to play?" You know, like, and the guitarist is all plugged in with all his gear. It's like, "You get me the sound." It's like, "Whoa, hang on, you know, you're the guitarist. You know, you give me the sound." You know, so very often you're stuck in those situations where you find you're with a band and the band is expecting you to do everything. You know, as a producer, they expect you to get all the sounds, do everything except play. You know, but as far as, you know, and I often, you know, often hate that where guitarists want me to fiddle around with their amp, and yet it's connected to their body. If you know what I mean, they're expressing it through their body is expressing it through the equipment, and yet there's me fiddling with it. You know, it's a bit obscene, really, because I'm messing around with the guy's expression, you know. Anyway.
Yeah.
So